Thank you, sir. Ooh, sorry. Thank you, sir. It is 1 p.m. I call to order Fort Bend County Commissioners Court regular meeting. Good afternoon and welcome to our courtroom and thank you for those who are joining us via live stream. Please be advised that we have a presence of a quorum. And additionally, this notice of this Commissioners Court meeting has been posted online under legal notices for at least 72 hours pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Please stand as Commissioner Andy Myers leads us in prayer, followed by invocation to our flags.
Welcome, Commissioner Court. I'm actually pitching for Victor McCoy. He's run a little bit late. So if you will, join me as we go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, we just pause to give you thanks for these blessings that you've done on us. Father, we ask your protection of our men and women who are in harm's way. Protect our first responders. As we consider the issues before us today, Father, we ask for your wisdom, guidance, and your courage. All the things that we do beneficial to all concerned and pleasing in your sight. In your holy name we pray.
Amen.
Will you please join me to pledge first to our nation's flag, followed by a pledge to our state flag. I pledge allegiance and now a pledge to our state flag. Honor the Texas flag. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. Item number 3, approve minutes of regular meeting held on September 10th, 2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 4, public comments regarding agenda announcements. We have one announcement. Fort Bend County offices will be closed on Friday, September 27th, 2024 for Fort Bend County Fair Day. At this time, do we have any public speakers signed up?
Yes, we do. We have a total of 5.
5.
And I'll start with your permission.
Okay, so if this is about budget hearing or regular items?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
31G is not a budget item,
Okay.
but the others are.
Okay, so you could go ahead and entertain.
Would you like for me to call all of them or just the one that's not in the budget?
I think we will invite
All of
the
okay.
people who are, either way, it doesn't matter, the public hearing is going to start right after.
That's fine.
So invite everybody, that's fine.
No problem. Will do. Beginning with Ms. Pat Snyder regarding agenda item 30I.
Just get the mic. Officer.
Good afternoon. I'm here today regarding the fiscal year 2025 Fort Bend County proposed budget. I'm asking each of you, as members of Commissioners Court, to make an amendment mandating 5% reduction across all departments with no exceptions. Every budget request is designed with 5 to 15% contingency. To my knowledge, a 5% reduction has never kept anyone from accomplishing the goals. This is a minimal reduction, and I think it also to your political advantage. 1, the budget reduction at this time would acknowledge to your constituents that you understand they are financially under stress and you're willing to help. Recent years of inflation have hit your taxpayers and businesses with undue stress in trying to balance their income with their expenses. I'm sure you've experienced too. Groceries, gas, utilities, insurance, medical expenses, and taxes all have increased substantially beyond their income. These are difficult times for your constituents, even those taxpayers that are not financially stressed have seen their money is not going as far as it usually did. All of them would appreciate your action on this amendment at this time. It acknowledges that you do give a damn about their struggle. 2, it tells the taxpayer that each of you are taking your fiduciary responsibility seriously, and this is the time to do your part. A vote against this reduction in spending tells taxpayers you just don't care about their financial stress. County salaries up to 26% has gotten public attention, while many are seeking second jobs to make ends meet. 3, it's time for each of you to put on your white hats and take fiscally responsible moves for the benefit and concerns of your constituents. It does not involve eliminating or delaying any of your plans or goals. It only eliminates fluff. 4, your exception and requirement on this minimal reduction indicates that you're also willing to tighten up your belt
That is a
I hate
total
to-
time is up.
financially and
I
call
hate to
on all
interrupt, but I'm
county
getting,
departments
Pat,
to do this.
I hate to interrupt you, but I'm getting a message that the streaming is not working. Is it, anybody? I just got a text message.
Not to my understanding, but Earl is here, so he is going to check it for us.
I can't hear a word you said.
And we have it here on the phone. It's working.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
go ahead, finish up your comments.
5, your recent property appraisals have significantly increased revenues for all beneficiaries, including Fort Bend County. Despite state efforts to reduce property taxes, your revenues have increased. Taxpayers have had to suck it up and find the money to pay those increases. Many on fixed incomes worry that eventually they may have to give up their homes. We're being squeezed from all directions. 6, communities with conservative fiscal attitudes are attractive communities for businesses to locate in and existing businesses to flourish. This would also be a tool for your community development to use in attracting new business to Fort Bend. New business brings new jobs and growth. We are not the only county looking to grow with them. I'm asking you to use these reduced budget funds to either reduce the tax rate for fiscal year 2025, reflecting that amount, or apply those savings to the Fort Bend County debt service. We've noticed our debt obligation increase rapidly during the last few years, and this is the right time for this amendment, and I ask each of you to vote for this amendment to the fiscal year of 2025 for Fort Bend County proposed budget. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next.
Our next speaker is Mr. John Welch on agenda item 30H.
Hello, my name is John Welch, and I am on the Lamar CISD School Board. I've been on the board for 5 years. I'm here representing myself, not the board or anybody else in the district. I'm here to speak on the salary increase specifically for the 5 of you. You are your own boss. You all have your own staff. You guys are already paid very well. The Harris-Biden economy has been terrible. It has hit Fort Bend County hard, and it's hit our residents very hard. Lamar CISD covers 43% of this county, so our taxpayers are your taxpayers. I want you to think about the homeowners and the number of homeowners who are struggling to pay their mortgage, the property tax with that, just to cover the salary increase for the 5 of you. I'm sure your staffs deserve a raise. In Lamar, we give raises every year because of our growth and because of good fiscal management. But I'm urging y'all, you 5, to forego your salary increase and to make an amendment today before you pass the budget to keep your salaries at what it was. And I'd like to commend Commissioner Myers for not voting for that salary increase. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Our next speaker is Lois Grimminger on agenda item 30I.
Thank you, Commissioners. As you know, I was here yesterday speaking on the budget about salaries. Today, I would like to approach a different topic, and that is our debt service. Historically, Fort Bend County has voted on any capital project that was over X number of amounts, right? They took it to the voters, and the voters had the opportunity to say, yes, we want that project, or no. That's not what we're doing anymore. It's not going to the voters, and I would like to tell you that when I compared numbers on the budget for 2024 actual, and I do understand as a finance person and human resource that your budget is sometimes off because of the closing of the year, but just looking at what we have. 2024 actual being $523 million, and the proposed being $731 million. That's $207 million increase. That is a 39.6% increase, not counting that may have ended in August and not September, and I think September is your budget time. I kindly ask you to please go back and look at our debts. Our county cannot continue to survive if our debt service keeps getting higher and higher. Over the last 2 years, it has almost doubled what it was. If you had to double your expenses with the same amount of income, you would go bankrupt. And that's where we're headed. We cannot do it. So please, please, look at these capital improvements, because right now it shows $41 million additional capital improvements for 2025 through 2029. That is another huge increase. Please reconsider them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Speaker number 4 is Ella Guillory on agenda item 31G under the engineer's office.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone on the court. I'm here to talk about the power plant.
Bring the mic close. Yeah.
Is that
Thank
better?
you. Better.
Okay. We put it with 31G, and I'm not sure if it fits there, but I'm asking your help. There's a gas power plant that's being proposed for in the prison area in Sugar Land. It's in the city limits of Sugar Land. But our subdivision, Chelsea Harbor, is less than half a mile from where that power plant is being proposed. And we're asking help. I've been to meetings with Mayor Zimmerman, and because we're not Sugar Land voters, he basically said, I don't care about you. We had people from New Territory, we had people from Telfair, we had people from Imperial Park, all of Sugar Land, all of these are Sugar Land voters. And basically he's saying, you know, we're going to proceed with our feasibility studies. You know, everybody's saying no, but he's continuing with this idea. I'm asking your help. I'm not sure where to go because...
I think you're mistaken. This has to do with a road.
Okay,
It has to do with John Sharp Road. You're talking about the power plant?
right. I'm not
Okay.
sure where it fits in the
Okay,
agenda.
that's not on our agenda. That is a City of Sugar Land issue, not a Fort Bend County issue. The item that you're speaking on is related to John Sharp Road that the county is improving.
Okay, so, but I'm told that there's a part of the land that they're going to be using will belong to Precinct 3. So I'm not sure where it fits, but I'm just trying to find out where do we get help?
Okay, it's not on our agenda, so the county doesn't have anything to do with the power plant. That's a City of Houston, City of Sugar Land issue, but the item that you're speaking on is a road,
So
is a John Sharp Road. It's the improvement of a road.
Okay,
it's not related to what you're talking about.
so I
the agenda.
can't come to this court with this problem? I
It
have
got to be something on the agenda-related item you should be
Okay.
talking about.
Can I get on the agenda in the future? Are you saying this?
No, because we are not the one doing that power plant. We have nothing to do with it. County have
It's
nothing
an
to
issue
do
you
with it.
should address with the City of Sugar Land.
City
And
of
we're
Sugar
trying to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next person.
The last speaker is Misty Phillip on agenda item number 5 under the Drainage District.
Okay. I come to you today to comment on the 24-25 Fort Bend budget and proposed salary increases. As a citizen of the county and as a fellow leader. First, as a leader, I just want you, as a leader, to consider what it looks like for you to give yourself upwards of double-digit raises when those people who work for you and support the county are not receiving that proportional of a raise either. Those same people who ultimately, as a leader, make you look good, they make you successful. Shouldn't they be afforded the same proportional raises as their leaders? My job as a leader is to humbly remove the roadblocks and support those people that report to me to enable me to be successful. And as a leader, that would weigh heavily on my conscience, and I would be almost embarrassed to see myself receive a raise at such an unequitable amount. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what the justification is. What does matter is that the perception from the public is that you are being unfair, greedy, and wielding your powers unfairly in your own advantage. Now, as a voting constituent of Fort Bend County, I see your raises, I hear about them, and then as I come to my job every day in Fort Bend County, I drive on county roads that are in absolute abysmal shape. When we go to our county road and bridge and we ask, why haven't you fixed it? What can you do? It is a resounding, we don't have the money. We are not given the money. I don't want my money going to your double-digit raise when I bounce down the road on horrible conditions every day to go to a job that is in Fort Bend County to then pay you tax. I implore that you think about this. I would argue for you that you're not keeping your constituents and the people that voted for you into your office trusting that you would have their best interest. You're not keeping their interest truly at heart. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today candidly, and I thank you, Mr. Myers, for your selflessness and your bravery for voting against it. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will move on to item number 5. Item number 5 is a public hearing. It is time 1:19. Conduct public hearing and take all appropriate action on the following matters. 5A, Budget and Finance. Conduct public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2025 budget for Fort Bend County pursuant to Texas Local Government Code Section 111.067. Anyone else in the audience would like to speak on this item? This is the time to step forward. Seeing no one has come forward and we have not received any additional request to comment on this item, I will now close this public hearing. Action on this item will be deferred to later in this meeting. And also, we will move on to the next public hearing item, item number 5B, County Judge. Conduct public hearing for the acceptance of the United States Environmental Protection Agency grant number 02F570570601. I repeat, grant number 02F like Frank 57601 regarding the Diesel Emission Reduction Act, which is also known as DERA, grant for Fridolin Rosenberg facility. Do we have anyone like to talk on this public hearing item? Please come forward. Seeing no one has come forward and we have not received any request to comment on this item, I will now close this public hearing. Action on this item is also deferred to later in the meeting. And we will move on to 5C, engineering. Hold public hearing and acceptance of following traffic control plan. CA, Richmond Foster Road Precinct 1. B, Willie Melton Elementary School Precinct 1. C, Sorrento Drive Street Dedication Section 2 Precinct 1. D, Fulshire Lakeside Park Section 4 Precinct 1. E, Tamaran West Section 6 Precinct 1. F, Fulshire Lakes Creekside Section 6 Precinct 1. G, Falcon Park Drive in Falcon Landing Section 7 Precinct 1. H, Tamaran West Section 13 Precinct 1. I, Tamaran West Section 19 Precinct 1. J, Sienna Parkway Right Turn Lane Addition regarding permit number 2021-47698 Precinct 2. K, Sienna Section 50A Precinct 2. L, Brookwater Section 3 Precinct 4. M, Harvest Green Section 48 Precinct 4. N, Harvest Green Section 49 Precinct 4. And O, Harvest Green Section 51 Precinct 4. Do we have anyone in the audience who would like to speak on any of this public hearing item? This is the time to step forward if you wanted to talk. Seeing no one has come forward and we have not received any request to comment on these items, I will now close this public hearing. I've been informed that agenda item 5C, A through O are ready for action. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Judge, I move that we accept 5C, A through O. Second.
And I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries 4-0. Now I present it to the court. Consent agenda item 6 through 27. I'm not aware of any changes.
Move approval of items 6 through 27 as presented. Second.
And I have a motion and also a second. Give me 1 second, let me get it. Any discussion on these items? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries 4-0. Now, I present to the court discussion agenda items, beginning with agenda item 28, presented by County Judge.
Move approval of item 28 as presented.
Second.
And I have a motion and a second on item 28. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to agenda item 29A through C, presented by County Auditor.
Move approval of 29A, B, and C as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on 29A, B, and C, and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Now, we will move on to agenda item Okay. 30 A through I presented by Budget and Finance, and some of these items are needed record vote. So I will ask agenda items agenda item A through I, in that E and I require record vote. So I will present to the court except that two items. Do we have a motion if we can do it together?
All right, you're gonna have to pull out item H.
Okay, so we could do it single, one by one.
Well, I think what we can do is approve items 30, A, B, C, and D,
Yeah,
and then we can take the others as they come.
okay, item,
So I move approval of item 30, A, B, C, and D as presented.
Second.
and I have a motion and a second on agenda item 30, A, B, C, and D, with a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries 4-0. Now we will move on to item number 30E, and this need a record vote, and I will ask Olga, please go ahead and read the item and take the record vote.
Take all appropriate action to adopt the 2024 tax rate for Fort Bend County and take a record vote pursuant to Property Tax Code 26.05 as follows. Proposed general fund tax rate, $0.288000. Proposed road and bridge fund, $0.015000. Proposed interest and sinking fund, $0.10900, and which makes a total proposed tax rate, of $0.412000.
Yes, I move that the property tax rate be decreased by the adoption of a tax rate of .288 cents for the general fund, .015 for the road and bridge fund, .1090 for the interest sinking fund, for a total Fort Bend County tax rate of 41.2 cents, which is effectively a 0.4% decrease in the tax rate. And before we vote, can we have our budget officer kind of explain to us what we have done? Because I know we went through a lot there was a lot of effort put into the budget and the tax rate, some give and take. We ended up with a compromise that it's a lower tax rate than was originally proposed and higher than I'd like, but we all came to a compromise in which we could all agree on it. So with that, my budget officer can explain to us, to everyone out here, what we did.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely. Okay. Is that better?
You could.
All right. So what the tax rate includes is for the Fort Bend County and for the Drainage District together is a total decrease of 1.69 cents. That is a decrease of almost 4% decrease in the tax rate. I had a presentation that I was going to give with the budget that included a little bit more on the tax rate. Do you want to wait for it then, or you want it now?
We can wait for it.
Okay.
So essentially, the property values went up almost 9%, but the taxes went up about half of that amount. Am I correct?
That's correct. So the average homestead will see an increase of approximately 4.6%, or a total dollar for the average homestead would be a $78 increase per annual.
Okay.
Any further conversation, discussion needed?
That's it.
Yeah,
On the
yeah.
budget. You want to say?
We are
something
on item 30E, right before we are about to take the
We're
record
about to
vote.
vote.
Good. I just want to say I apologize first off. I serve on another board for Oak Bend, and that meeting ran way over, so apologies to the public and to my colleagues. But I do know that first I want to thank our tax office that did a lot of work in putting together values that our budget office, sorry, I'm out of breath. that our budget office used to propose this budget for us. We've had a lot of time to work with these numbers and to be able to make the very best decision for our constituents, to be able to offer the world-class services that I know that everyone expects of us. In fact, we started this process off in my office by going out to the community and asking them what their priorities were. And a lot of folks, first and foremost, said that they wanted to live in a safe community. And I think this budget accomplishes that by offering pay increases to law enforcement that is well needed. And I thank HR, Budget, and Auditor's Office for working on that. But also, we got a lot more work to do in how we improve and provide our services. So I will be supporting the proposed budget, and I thank the team that put this together.
Assuming there is no other comment,
That's okay.
Olga, you should go ahead and take
Ready?
the record
Okay.
vote on this item 30E.
Judge, can I stop you a minute? Who was the second on that? I didn't hear.
I'll be a second.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Prestige, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Judge George, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we will move on to item 30F. And that is also a record vote. Please go ahead and read the item.
30F is not a record vote, but 30I is a record vote.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
each
okay.
one need to be read.
Well-
Please go ahead. 1 second. sir.
Is
Read
there
the
a
item.
motion?
30F?
30F.
30F.
We are taking one at a time.
No worries.
One by one. Go ahead and read the item.
So for Agenda 30F, the item reads as follows. Take all appropriate action on request to freeze the following 58 vacant full-time positions in the Sheriff's Office for fiscal year 2025 to fund the proposed law enforcement compensation adjustments as presented in the chart below.
Move approval of item F, 30F as presented.
Second?
And I have a motion and a second. Obviously,
Yes, we need an explanation of what we're doing here. This is pretty substantial. We're making, in this process, and I'm not sure exactly, I guess G would be where we essentially are approving the increases. But I think that people need to understand, we're freezing 58 positions in the sheriff's office to accommodate these increases. No one knows what the increases are. No one knows what the cost is. No one knows what the percentage is. So I'd like HR and our sheriff to basically give us an explanation of what we're doing here, what positions I know we have a list of positions we're essentially freezing. We're not going to have anybody explain what we're doing.
yeah, I think, I'm sorry, sir. I think it is being presented to the court members, and I will ask the budget office if you could go ahead.
Yes, sir. So the 58, the total salary adjustment that was presented to us by Human Resources was a total cost of $10.2 million. And that's for all law enforcement. That does not just include the sheriff's office. With this item that's brought before you, 30F, thank you. 30F is to freeze the 58 vacant positions. These are currently positions that are vacant. These 58 positions will free up $5.4 million to cover that $10.2 million. So just to give you a little snippet, the total cost for all law enforcement salary increases is $10.2 million. The sheriff's office cost was $8.6 million, and all the rest of law enforcement was $1.5 million, and I'm rounding these numbers, of course. So these 58 positions that we're freezing for fiscal year 2025 will fund $5.4 million of that, and we fund the rest of it. We had some monies in our COLA placeholder. If you recall, during the budget process, we had some money set aside in our COLA for in-county employees. It was not all used, so we still had another $4.5 million there, and that's how we were able to fund the $10.2 million of this salary adjustment for law enforcement personnel.
And it's also important to note that that only represents half of the vacant positions.
Yes, sir. So currently, there are approximately 120 vacant positions. So the 58 positions is half of what's currently vacant.
And also, it is important to mention that why we are here, why we are talking this, because the sheriff department have 128 something positions vacant for a long period of time because they cannot find appropriate candidates because of our pay. And so that's the reason why we came up with this idea. And thank you for all the good work your department and also HR did in this regard. Yes, go ahead.
As far as the actual plan of what those increases are, I'll defer to Human Resources. I'm speaking as far as how we financed it, how we were able to include it in the budget. And it was mostly, a big part of it was these 58 positions.
Sure.
58 positions was able to fund half of that,
Sure.
that increase.
Yeah, but the 58 position is not going to take care of the whole need.
That is
Some
correct.
of it, some
That
of
is
it.
correct. It's only some of it. And like I said, just the sheriff's increases was over $8 million. So even these 58 positions, they do not cover the total cost of the sheriff's increases. But it does take care of a majority and a good piece of that increase.
Sure. Nicole, please come forward. And
Also,
yes, sir.
oh, come on, Nicole. It also is applied across all law enforcement agents. I think
Yes,
that's
sir.
important to know.
And if you could give a brief idea of how we got here, because you guys did so much work behind the scenes. So if you could give a brief overview for citizens, those who are listening and watching. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Judge, and thank you so much to the rest of the commissioners and the court at large. So just to take everyone back, just to have a synopsis of what we did. Back in July, Sheriff Fagan and his team did come forward and ask the court to support taking a look at what the court could potentially do to help support his agency. Based on that request, the court then set about to task my office with taking a look at what we could do to support law enforcement from an attraction perspective as well as retention. What could we do to retain the good folks that work in this space? And so what you see today and what we visited with you, each of you independently, and discussed was that proposal. What we did was to take a look at our law enforcement pay structure, and we adjusted the pay structure. So that was a part of this recommendation. So by adjusting the pay structure, which we did, allowed for increased compensation at the minimum of the pay structure, well, across the whole pay structure, to allow for the sheriff and other agencies to be able to compete. The pay structure was increased on an average of 20% higher than the pay structure from last year. So what does that mean? That means that it allows our law enforcement agencies to be able to attract new personnel into their agencies at a rate of pay that we believe is competitive to other counties that we jurisdictionally are working with. The other thing that we did with this proposal was not just to adjust the pay structure, but then take a look at the incumbents that are sitting in those roles, and that is the proposal that is set before you as well. So that $10.2 $1 million that Pamela referenced is a part of this bigger project that we set out to look at attracting folks as well as retaining the individuals that we have in those roles. And that's how we got here.
And I think I saw in the data y'all presented, some roles will get as high as 50% pay increase.
38 is the highest I saw.
Yeah, it's not 50%.
Yeah, I saw one constable in precinct 4 got a 38% increase. We got some of them got a 4%.
High 30s are the highest.
30, got it.
And also, it is important to mention that whatever that percentage increase, it is in alignment with other jurisdictions in this area, whether it is cities and counties and,
Well,
right?
to be clear, we looked at all different jurisdictions. We know we can't compete with some local jurisdictions in terms of their starting pay, but we do believe that the pay point that we increase the pay structure to is competitive with other counties.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have no other question, but I accept comments. One of the things I am concerned about, our sheriff is struggling, I understand that, mainly in his jail, where he's having people work overtime. That tends to create problems from the standpoint of when you got to work a lot of overtime, you're away from family, et cetera. It causes stress, and unfortunately, people tend to leave those kind of stressful situations. And here we're setting aside and not going to fill 58 positions, and this is because we're trying to find the funds to fund this salary increase. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we have a revenue source that is available to us that we're not using, and that is the sales tax revenue that we get from our county assistant districts. This is something that have proposed in the past, that we utilize some of those funds to fund things of this nature so that we don't have to do things like not fill our law enforcement positions, or we don't do some other things. So that has been an option that the majority of the court has chosen not to take. I'm disappointed in that because I think that some of the things, that is one of the things we could do to better address this issue. Law enforcement, most people move to this community because we have a very safe community, a very safe, secure, family-friendly community. Those of us on the court have been here for a while and worked very hard to make it that way, and we want to keep it that way. And so it's important for us to make certain that we support our law enforcement, with appropriate pay and appropriate conditions that they can work in so that we don't end up losing them. So just my comments.
And I have to say, I know I said it last budget cycle as well. I think part of where we find ourselves today is the result of, for whatever the reasons may have been, the counties or past commissioners court not keeping up with where the market is in terms of salaries for our county employees. Look, each one of us had the opportunity to tour the county jail and talk to the deputies who are working there and the detention officers. There is one lieutenant who has been working in the jail or for the sheriff's office for several decades. And he told me what I already knew in that they've continued to work hard over the decades. And unfortunately, decisions from this dais have not supported or recognized that hard work with the appropriate compensation for the conditions under which they're working. We're now having to contend with that, not just in our jail, but across our county. And so I again want to applaud our HR team, our budget office, and our auditor's offices for working on this proposal. I appreciate the sheriff's willingness to work with us in freezing some of these positions to be able to pay and afford some of these increases. And then we'll work together to make sure that we're filling those and continuing to provide what the community is asking and expecting of us.
Does that mean you're willing to use some of the sales tax revenue to fund this?
I'm not even, that wasn't even a part of this conversation, but I do believe that we have a lot of challenges to figure out.
I don't disagree. That's the reason I suggested we use the revenue.
Beautiful.
And I will note, sorry, y'all gonna get tired of me, but I will note, again, we're able to do this while offering a historic tax decrease to our residents. So again, very proud of this work.
Sure. And so we will vote on item F. It is just a regular item. And so we have a motion, I believe, and a second. All in favor for item 30F. Motion carries unanimously. And now we will move on to,
Move approval of item 30G as
And-
presented.
you could,
Second.
maybe you could do it together, Commissioner, G and H, because, right, Olga? You could do it? G and
Yes,
H?
a record vote is aye, but G and H could be voted together if you like.
Judge, let's
Okay, take it
them
separately.
yeah.
Separately, yes. Item G, yes. So do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. So for item G, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Move on to item H.
Approve of item 30H as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for item 30H. Any discussion?
Yes, once more, I think we send the wrong message in giving some of our highest paid officials a 26 or 20 or 18% increase in pay. We're giving ourselves a 9% increase in pay, or the majority of the court is giving the members of the court a 9% increase in pay at the time. We're giving our lowest paid employees a 4%. I think that that's backwards in my opinion, and I'm not going to support this.
Any further discussion?
I'm sorry. Ms. Goebbels, can you give us an explanation of how we arrived here at this proposal?
The elected officials?
Yes.
So,
And because I also want to note, there were some comments made about this that I think are misleading to the public about us not having the ability to ask questions about the audit that your office and HR did, and also not seeing a justification for this. So I would love to hear where that comes from.
yes, sir. During our budget hearings earlier this summer, the court asked the Human Resources Department to conduct a survey of elected officials' salaries. That was done. They did a survey of 7 counties. Those salaries were presented before you, and then an average of each official's salary was taken. The proposal before you that's on the agenda is to bring each elected official in Fort Bend County up to the average salary of those 7 counties that were surveyed, and then presented with a 4% COLA that the rest of the
And also,
employees.
Pamela, I wanted to ask you, the 7 counties, we also selected based on the population and size of the county, right?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
So Harris County wasn't one of those?
No.
No.
Right.
No.
Right, okay. And I think that's helpful to note, so, and just so that the public understands, because this is a big topic, and it is something not to just be washed over, because these are decisions with our county's tax dollars. And there's been a lot of alarm on this particular issue, and I understand that. And what I think is important for us to explain is that this is the 3rd phase of a multi-phase project that our HR and budget offices have undertaken to look at salaries across the board in Fort Bend County. And of course, the elected officials are the last group as part of that. And I think I distinctly remember this being a topic of conversation back in 2021 when I was a staffer in the county. And Commissioner Myers, you brought this up in particular about the salaries for court members and our offices, given the tremendous population of unincorporated area in Fort Bend County that we're tasked with serving. And I can understand that. And I can also understand what the need is on our county resources. And so, again, I think it's helpful for folks to understand that this isn't something that was done in the heat of night. We've been continuing with this since last year, and we've been, in fact, working on salaries across the board in Fort Bend County for the past 2 or 3 years. And so there's a reason why, again, that office was these offices were instructed not to, there's no reason why officials in Fort Bend County should be at the top of the pay range as it comes to other like counties, and we're not. We are just at the average of what other comparable counties are, and that's why I will support this motion. The other thing I will add too is it's important to note that across the board, what we're trying to do, because included in this survey, this round, were executive managers as well, and we have to contend with how do we attract and retain top quality leaders, and that people will see working in government as a viable option for serving the community, and we have to compensate our executive managers at the level pursuant to their roles as well.
Sure. And I just wanted to say this also, Commissioner Myers, to all respect, and in 2021, I think you made the best case why elected official salary should be comparable to other counties of our size. So that's the reason why I'm willing to support this, assuming there is no other discussion at this time. Is this a record vote? No, it is all in favor for this. We have a motion and a second. And any opposed? And the motion carries 4-1. Let's move on.
Agenda item 30I.
Aye. Please read.
Take all appropriate action to adopt the FY 2025 budget for Fort Bend County and take a record vote pursuant to Texas Local Government Code Section 111.068.
Do I have a motion?
I'm sorry, we can have a motion. I have a presentation for the budget. I can either do it before your motion or after your motion. It's up to you.
We could get a motion and a second, then the discussion item, that's where you could do the presentation.
sir.
Yeah, we have a motion
Move approval of 30I.
as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. At this time, Pamela, please go ahead and discussion, give a presentation.
Good afternoon. I'm going to start with a little bit first with the tax rate. We discussed this a little bit earlier this afternoon. But the proposed tax rate for Fort Bend County is 41.2 cents per $100 valuation, a reduction of 1.45 cents from last year. The proposed tax rate for the Drainage District is 1 cent per $100 valuation, a reduction of 0.24 cents from last year. Therefore, the total tax rate for both Fort Bend County and the Drainage District is 42.2 cents, a reduction of 1.69 cents. And both the Fort Bend County tax rate and the Fort Bend County Drainage District tax rates are less than the no new revenue rate.
Okay.
The taxes on the average homestead, the average homestead value in Fort Bend County increased by 8.8%. So to reduce the tax burden of the Fort Bend County taxpayers, the court proposed and just recently adopted a tax rate reduction of 1.69 cents or 3.85 cents, almost 4%. The tax on the average homestead will increase by $78 or 4.6%, a smaller increase than if the tax rate had not been reduced. The tax rate for over the last 15 years in Fort Bend County has either stayed the same or decreased. And in the last 10 years, the tax rate has decreased by 7.77 cents. Today, before you, the 2025 proposed budget for Fort Bend County and Drainage District together is $731.6 million, an increase of 8.2%. The governmental functions with the highest percentage increase are Parks and Recreation and Health and Welfare, while the governmental functions with the highest dollar increase are Public Safety, Debt Service, and General Administration. Here you'll see a little snippet of the finance summary showing major funds only. For the general fund, which is that second column of data, the total revenues are $409.6 million, and the total expenditures are $436.6 million. The budget proposes a drawdown of $27.3 million from the fund balance. Fund balances can increase year over year due in combination to higher revenue collection than budgeted and also not expending 100% of the prior year's budget. So in compliance with our budget, our policy of keeping a 30% ending balance in the event of an emergency, the general fund ending balance is projected to be $131.3 million or 30.1%. The 2025 budget includes 75 new positions in the amount of $7.7 million. This amount does not only include salaries and fringe, but also all operating costs for those 75 positions, such as desks, phones, computers, training, vehicles, etc. The Administration of Justice, you'll see here, Administration of Justice departments, they received 27 new positions, while the Health and Welfare departments are increasing their staff by 22 positions, and that's all of the Health and Welfare departments together. Quick highlights, budget highlights. As we just reviewed, the compensation increases of 843 law enforcement personnel with an average increase of 22% is included in this budget. Also included is a 4% COLA for county employees. We have a new magistrate court, which includes 6 positions, 1 judge, 2 part-time coordinators, an attorney in the DA's office, and 2 bailiffs. Also, some continuation of some ARPA programming is the Youth Employment Program, which is 1 FTE, the Expose Excellence Youth Program, 3 FTEs, and 2 Associate District Courts, which includes 7 FTEs. Those last 3 programs, again, were previously funded from ARPA, and ARPA is the American Rescue Plan Act, and we're moving those from grant funding into the general fund. Other highlights include the Employee Morale Program that we've included in the Human Resources Department. We've added additional peak trucks for EMS, which is an addition of 4 FTEs. Also included is a pet adoption incentive program, which is free pet food and pet medicine for 1 year for the first 250 dogs adopted. Also, we have a plethora of new parks and recreation facilities, including Boys and Girls Clubs in Rosenberg, Arcola, and Fresno, an All Abilities Park in Fulshire, Galaxy Park, Pecan Grove Gym, the Barbara Jordan Center, and the African American Memorial, and also reopening of the Arboretum Cricket Complex and the South Post Oak baseball field. We have some capital improvement projects that are also are included in our debt. The capital improvement projects include fuel island upgrades, fuel tracking systems, resurfacing of roofs, historic archive room. I'm not going to read all of these, but you can see them up here on your screen. The total of all the capital improvement projects for FY 2025 include it totals to $20.6 million. And that's what's included in the 2025 budget.
Sure. Thank you, Pamela. Anybody have any comments?
Yeah. Well, some questions. Pamela, if you could just address, there was a commenter yesterday who talked about the relationship, and I think there's some misunderstanding about the relationship between the county and the Central Appraisal District, and I think it's very important for the public to understand how the budget is made, and then also how our appraised values, this body has zero engagement in, or the other way around. Can you just explain that briefly?
Right. So,
Pamela, 1 second, and it is important to even more emphasize this, because we heard people talking about the grocery prices went up, and that's all true. And I don't think anyone who spoke here said anything I disagree with, because it is the fact. It is the fact. And we keep saying, each budget cycle, we say we reduce the tax, but then they say, I paid more tax. So that's why it is important to know there is two components to your tax, and we had this conversation before. And Pamela, I will ask you to explain, but it is important to know there are two components, that one component county have nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, it is called Fort Bend Appraisal District. And so Pamela, please go ahead.
Yes. So like you both stressed, the County Appraisal District and Fort Bend County are not commingled. Those are two separate entities. We receive the values from the Central Appraisal District and get those numbers and plug them in. What we're doing is, as the values increase, of course, the revenues will increase. And so to offset that, we decrease the tax rate. So we're looking at the no new revenue rate is the rate that would help us get the same revenues that we received in the prior year, excluding new improvements. So what you adopted today with your tax rate, you adopted tax rates that are less than the no new revenue rate. So therefore, the revenues that we're receiving from the properties that were on the roll last year are equal or less than, because it was right under. The additional revenues that we're receiving from property taxes are from new improvements this year, which included revenues from new property this year is over $12 million from new properties.
Yeah, and so I think it's helpful to know that there is no relationship in terms of how our setting our budget, aside from getting the appraised values from the Central Appraisal District. There is no other sort of commingling between the county and the Central Appraisal District. They are a state entity that sets appraised values based on a formula that they adopt from the state. They give those numbers to us, and then we have to contend with how do we fund the services that residents expect of us. When you call the county and you have to wait, or you come to the tax office and you have to wait in a long line and you're just on your lunch break and you're trying to get back quickly, part of that is because of how we are trying to be good stewards of our resources, and so we don't have an over-bloated budget of staffing because we recognize that costs are high. We recognize that even though the request for new positions was, how many were there? 100 and?
It was over 170, I believe.
Over 170, and we had to make the tough decision to prioritize 75 of those positions, which will mean it will be, some of those things that residents expect of us today. We won't be able to do it all, but we'll make a strategic strategic process for how we get there over time, so that it is affordable for our county, so that we can offer a tax cut deeper than what is mandatorily required of us from the state. We've also been able to do all of this while being in a very strong financial position. Our bond rating went up this year to a AAA rating, and so we're trying to be very good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. And I think out of this, we saw that we're getting additional EMS personnel and resources. We're getting law enforcement officials that can help keep our community safe. And the largest bucket of new positions was in the administration of justice. I think that's the biggest shocker to a lot of folks when we broke down the budget in the town halls that we did this past year, was how much we spend on law enforcement and the administration of justice. The needs are great, and we have prioritized keeping our community safe.
One of the things with regard to the Central Appraisal District, before I became a county commissioner one time, I was a property tax agent. That is an individual who actually goes before represents property owners and goes before the Central Appraisal Districts and protests their property. The Central Appraisal District is supposed to value properties on the basis of market value. what the Central Appraisal District, because they don't have enough staff to evaluate each and every individual home for this, quote, market value, they take an average of the market value for a subdivision and apply it to the entire subdivision. So in other words, if the market value of one particular home in a subdivision is $200, then they apply per square foot, then they apply $200 per square foot for every other property within that subdivision. However, properties are different, and some properties are a little bit more valuable or less valuable than others. And so if you're in a situation where you believe that your property is unfairly valued, my recommendation would be to hire a property tax agent. I'm no longer one, so you can't hire me. But my suggestion would be you hire a property tax agent. They work on a contingency basis, which means that if they don't get you a property tax relief or a refund or reduction in your taxes, they don't get paid. They only take a percentage of whatever savings they have for you. So it would be something that you may want to consider if you think your properties are unfairly valued.
This time, yes, sir.
I think that also that needs to be noted that we are being very fiscally responsible because you have neighboring equal counties to Fort Bend County, like Montgomery County, increasing their tax rate by 8.9% this year. We're reducing ours by 3.85%. We've continued to reduce that since 1990. When Mr. Myers can relate to this, when in 1990 we were at 66 cents. Today, we'll be at 42 cents once this budget is approved. So we've continued to reduce the tax rate, and again, we have neighboring counties increasing their tax rates, and we continue to reduce it. So we are doing everything we can. Property values are going up the same across the state. But we're continuing to look at ways to curve it back. I want to also thank the budget office, the auditor's office. They worked very hard and have been with this county for a long time, and they worked very hard to reduce and continue to reduce and to hold our directors and even us as elected officials accountable. And so I think that, in my opinion, this court, our staff is definitely looking out for our taxpayer, that being me as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And
I want to say I appreciate the fact that the members of the court as a whole, we worked together and came up with a budget that we could all support, that we felt was a reasonable budget. We didn't all agree on every issue. Obviously, I didn't agree on one, but we came together, working together, trying to come up with what we believe to be a fair budget and the best compromise budget that we could come up with. So I want to say thank you to my fellow court members on us all working in a cooperative manner in an effort to try to come up with a budget that is fair.
At this time, I will ask Olga, please go ahead and get the record vote.
Thank you. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Prestige, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Judge George, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Judge, before you move on, I want to thank the members of the public who addressed the court. I know it can be an unnerving process to come and grab the mic and speak your mind. I want to assure you that every one of us is listening. Every one of us is listening. So thank you so much for what you do to make us a better county. Thank you.
And also, thank you for being here, right? Many people were not able to make it. You're here, and you're representing the other citizens. Thank you. And we are moving on.
And one note, this did come up, and I talked with some staff about it. If I might make a suggestion to the court for our next budget cycle, that during our budget hearings, that we afford some time for the public to speak during those hearings when our departments are presenting to us as well, or we work out some other sort of mechanism for the public to give feedback and participate on the front end of the budget development process and not just right before we adopt the budget.
That's, when you put together the calendar, that can definitely can be accommodated because it is important to hear what our citizens think.
Yes, sir,
No question.
I will add that to the budget calendar, and then when we have our public hearings, that will be an item to receive comments from the public during our hearings.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, I will move on to item number 31A through J, presented by the county engineer. Do you need any item pulled out, or we can approve?
I'm
in
going
a-
to approve item 31A through J with the correction on A. I think that's precinct 4.
Which
Or
one?
3. Held that. It was formerly precinct 2.
It might be 3, it's not 4.
I think it's 3.
3.
You're talking about 2 or 3?
No, item 31A is precinct 3.
Okay.
Not precinct 2.
Precinct 2.
I'll
Okay.
second that motion with the correction.
Okay, I have a motion to approve this items 31A through J with the noted exception. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah,
Meyer-
second.
Meyer
Oh, Meyer, second, all right.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second, and any discussion further? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. And now we will move on to
We'll approve item 32
32.
as presented.
Second.
And I have a motion and a second on agenda item 32 presented by Facilities Management and Planning. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 33
Move approve
presented.
item 33 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for item 33. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously.
Move approve item 34 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for agenda 34. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. And now we will move on to agenda item 35A, B, and C presented by the Grants Administration.
Move approve item 35A, B, and C
C.
as presented.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second for item 35A, B, and C. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to 36A and B from Health and Human Services.
Approve item 36A and B as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for item A, 36A and B. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor. Motion carries unanimously. 37.
Move approve item 37 as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second on item 37 presented by Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 38A and B.
Move approve item 38A and B as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for item 38A and B. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor. Motion carries unanimously. 39.
Move approve item 39 as presented.
Second.
Motion for item 39 from Department of Library Department. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor. Motion carries unanimously.
I'm on a roll now. Item 40 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion for item 40 from Park and Recreation. Thank you, Commissioner Prestige. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 41A through
Move approve item 41A through T as presented.
Second.
And I have a motion and a second on item 41A through T presented by the Purchasing Department. Any discussion?
I just
Hearing-
want to say I'm really happy. The voters approved in the 2023 Parks Bond a contribution to the T.W. Davis YMCA. We've been getting a lot of questions about that. I believe Jess Stewart is here from the YMCA. We've worked out the particulars of the agreement to ensure that this project moves forward with the taxpayers' interest at heart. And we're really excited that now these funds that we contribute will open up funds from all the other foundations and governmental entities to be able to support opening up this facility. So I'm really proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Item 42. 41?
Move approve item 42 as presented.
42A and D. A through D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for agenda item 42, A through D from the Risk Management. Any discussion?
And yes, is Mr. Scott here? he might be an overflow. I know there were some exciting developments in this this proposal for our employees. Yep, if you wouldn't mind, I told you I was going to call you up. Just a quick highlight of some of the positives here for our employees.
If you hadn't called him, I was
Bring
going
it
to
up,
call him.
yeah.
I already told him I would, so.
There we go.
Hear me now?
And also, sorry, just real quick, Commissioner Morales and Commissioner Prestidge, we're hearing that people are struggling to hear y'all on the live stream. Might just want to move a little bit closer to your mic when you speak.
Okay, thank you.
First off, thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak before the court today. Whenever we've got, good, positive information, we love to share what some of those positives are. Some of the changes that we're asking the court to approve today include medical plan changes. One of the changes we'd like to do is eliminate the late entrance status. Currently, at this time, if you add a dependent to your plan here, the dependent has to wait, first of the month after 58 days. What we'd like to do is eliminate that, and that would allow the dependent to, as the new plan year comes on, they'd be able to get immediate coverage and they wouldn't have to wait, and I think that's a good positive for our employees. Secondly, the court has already approved telemedicine. We're able to do that under our medical plan, and so all we're doing is adding the language to the plan on that. The third change that we're making to the medical plan, somewhat offset, although minor, would offset, starting coverage sooner for the dependents, is that we would eliminate the rollover deductible. The rollover deductible is it's an archaic benefit that you don't find in today's medical plans. What that does is it gives someone who doesn't use their deductible prior to October 1st, they get a credit into the new year towards their deductible. And what we'd like to do is eliminate that in the plan at this time. The number of folks that have benefited from that have been minimally, so it will minimally impact, our employees. The next plan changes is to the dental plan. We'd like to raise the dental dependent age that they're eligible to participate on the plan from 25 to 26. That would bring them in line with what we're currently doing with the medical plan, so that would allow our employees to keep their dependents on the dental plan for another year. We'd want to also remove the full-time student requirement to be on the plan after they graduate high school. Again, that would allow them to have their dependents on, or more of their dependents on, regardless of their student status. Another positive for our employees. Also, like the medical plan, we'd also like to eliminate the late entrant for those dependents, and that would allow, more dependents to be on the plan. Our next item that I'm asking the court to approve is we're renewing the property insurance coverage for the Epicenter. The carrier has given us terms reduction from roughly $760,000 to $613,000. So that's another good positive for the county. And then last but not least, we're asking the court to approve this year's insurance rates. We're asking for a modest increase in the rates. As an example of what that increase looks like, somebody who is on our low deductible plan, the $350 deductible plan, and for the employee-only coverage, that would be an increase, the rate of $3.44 a month. For somebody that's on our higher deductible plan, which is the $850 deductible plan, their rate increase would be, I think it's $1.64 a month. So for somebody who is non-nicotine user, who does their biometric and does their health risk assessment, then that would be very modest increases for them to participate. And these are the approval, what we're asking the court to approve today.
Thank you for being here, sir. Appreciate it.
And just a real big deal, Now people who start working here won't have to wait the 50 or something odd days.
They're dependents,
Their dependents,
Yeah,
for their
for-
dependents to be able to be covered, now they will be covered immediately.
That is correct.
Wyatt,
Thank
Wyatt, one of the potential risk issue I think you may want to look at, I went to an event at the Epicenter, and I noted it was dark. There were no lights along the walkway, the stair, as you're walking down. And the strips are not white, they're black. And my daughter was walking behind me, and she missed a step, and had I not been there, she had fallen down the stairs. So I see that as a potential liability.
I agree.
So I would look into it if I were you.
We'll take that task.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, with that, assuming there is no further discussion, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 43, presented by Sheriff's Office.
Move approval of item 43 as presented.
Second. I didn't hear you. Could you speak up?
And we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 44, approved bills.
Deferring the time-sensitive bills to be considered on the next item totaling $25,528,246.10. Submit for court approval bills totaling $14,107,083.33, with routine disbursements of $12,457,438.72.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 46.
Move for approval.
Second.
Agenda item 46, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. And at this time, agenda item 46, 45, and 46, right? Yeah. And move
40
on to closed session.
47, meet in closed session to deliberate the following matters as authorized by the Texas Government Code, beginning with A, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. 1, fire service agreements. 2, authorize the county attorney's office to finalize settlement negotiations concerning Brinks Incorporated invoice for transportation services. B, Section 551.074, under personnel matters, the executive manager performance evaluations will be presented to court. 1, Carlos Guzman, Economic Development Director, and 2, Nicole Ledet, Director of Human Resources.
At this time, the Commissioners Court will stand in recess as we turn our attention to Fort Bend County Drainage District Board of Directors meeting. It is time 2:22. I call to order Fort Bend County Drainage District Board of Directors meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 24th. At this time, we will move on to the item number 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
And I have a motion and a second for item 2. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 3. And so this is public hearing. So again, it is time 2:23. Conduct public hearing and take all appropriate action on the following matters. Budget and finance. Conduct public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2025 budget of Fort Bend County Drainage District pursuant to Texas Local Government Code Section 111.067. Do we have anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this item? This is the time to step forward. Seeing no one has come forward and we have not received any request to comment on this item, I will now close this public hearing. Action on this item will be deferred to the later in this meeting. Now I present to the court agenda item number 4.
Move approval of agenda item 4 as presented.
And I have a motion and a second for agenda item 4. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Now I present to the court agenda item number 5 with a correction. It should call McCrary Road instead of, it's misspelled. So with that correction, do I have a motion?
You skipped one.
Yeah, this,
Yes, if I may spell the correct street?
Yeah.
It should be spelled M-C-C-R-A-R-Y.
Yeah, and the motion is with the correction.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second on item 5.
Judge, I'm going to stop you there, please. We can't hear. Who made the motion?
The motion.
Commissioner Myers.
Commissioner Myers?
Oh,
and-
Commissioner Myers and.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Now I present to the court agenda item 6.
Move approval of 6 as presented.
Second.
And I have a motion and a second on agenda item 6. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Now I present to the court agenda item 7.
Move approval of item 7 as presented.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second on agenda item 7. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 8.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second on agenda item 8. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Now we will move on to agenda item number 9.
Move approval of item 9 as presented.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second on agenda item number 9. And any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to agenda item number 10. And I will ask Olga, please go ahead and read the item.
10, take all appropriate action to adopt the 2024 tax rate for Fort Bend County Drainage District and take a record vote pursuant to Property Tax Code 26.05 as follows. Property Drainage District tax rate, $0.010000. Proposed interest and sinking fund rate, tax rate, 0. And that's going to be $0.00000. Excuse me. And that makes a total proposed tax rate to 0.010000.
I move that the property tax rate be decreased by the adoption of a tax rate of 1 penny for the drainage maintenance and operating fund and $0 for the drainage interest and sinking fund for a total drainage for a total tax rate of 1 penny, which is effectively a 16.39% decrease in the tax rate. Sorry, the green light's on, but it seems to be coming in and out.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none.
We got a record vote.
Record vote, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Prestich, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Judge George, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. And now we will move on to agenda item 11. Presented.
Approval of item 11 is presented.
And any, second?
Second.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Now I present to the court agenda item number 12.
Move approval of item 12.
Second.
And I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. With that, do I have a motion
Sir,
to?
we need a record vote.
Oh, this is a record vote?
For the last item.
Okay, that's my bad. It is a record vote, and so we have a motion and a second. Please go ahead and.
Yes. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Prestich, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers, how do you vote? Yes. Commissioner McCoy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Judge George, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? With no objection, Fort Bend County Drainage District Board of Directors meeting is now adjourned. Now we will move our attention towards Fort Bend County Assistant District number 9. And it's time 2:29. I call to order the Fort Bend County Assistant District number 9 Board of Directors meeting Today is Tuesday, September 24, 2024. And item number 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
And I have a motion and a second on item number 2. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Now I present to the court agenda item 3.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
With no objection, this Fort Bend County Drainage District Board of Directors, Drainage District Number 9 Board of Directors meeting is now adjourned, and the Commissioners Court will stand in recess for closed session. And I've been informed that there are pledges to sign, which is going to be on first floor, and also the closed session is going to be on first floor. And you see all that.